Folks, thanks for coming on the line with us today. This is John Dubas with the Brokerage here in Louisville, Texas. We'll be spending the next half hour or so discussing some of the lead and marketing support programs our organization offers to agents contracted with the Brokerage Inc. It's a very frequent question that we get, and one that has a little bit more to an answer than some might believe. Very often when we speak to agents, one of the first questions that pops up is, do you have any leads? And our answer in many circumstances is one that may be a little less revealing than some people might think, or a little more revealing than others might imagine. And that is, well, that depends. It depends on what you consider a lead. There are organizations in our industry that will recruit and promise a number of set appointments per week, per day, per month. There are folks that will say, I'll give you this amount of leads per month. And it's a question of what is the appointment then and what is the lead. If you were to pull a list of folks and call them, have a list available for you to cold call, some folks might consider that a lead. I consider that a prospect list. There are some folks that will say we'll set appointments for you and use a script that is such that you get there and the person doesn't even know what you're there to talk to them about. And that, in my opinion, is not much of an appointment. It is a prospect as well. And if you are comfortable with a small fact finder or being rather extemporaneous in your approach, that might work out for you too. But the circumstance in many cases is best defined as to what meets your expectation. It's the story of Alice in Wonderland. When she falls into the hole and looks at the cat and asks her which way to go, and the cat says, depends on where you want to get to, basically. If you don't care where you're going, it doesn't matter which way you go. And as long as if you have a goal in mind, then you got to walk the right direction, head the right direction. Because we want to make money, we don't necessarily wish to spend it irresponsibly. And so a lot of things, what we do then is look at it from how do we work this backwards. If we have a marketing budget, how do we spend those dollars in order to make it most effective for all involved? And in many circumstances, that changes from time to time. So what we need to do is then figure out if we are pursuing a policy that is low return on commission dollars. In order to reach our goals, we need more of those appointments. It's just logical. It's just the way the math works. And it then gives us an idea of, are we looking to grow a book? Are we looking to go back and rework our book of business? How are we laying out principles of what you intend to do with marketing dollars and what kind of return on that investment can you get out of those dollars? So let's take this and work it just a little mathematically. Let's say we have a goal for ourselves of a six-figure income in first-year sales, and we're working Medicare Advantage products. And we're going to round this off because there are now questions as to how much money can be advanced, what point in time in the year is the product sold or whatever, but we're just going to use for illustration purposes a $200 base commission, so a renewal commission. If we're looking at a six-figure income, that means based on those numbers, we need 500 sales a year to generate that in first-year commissions. If we work one product, we get paid the same amount each and every week. You take those amount of sales, divide them up into the time that we're looking to work, 52 weeks in the year. We're going to take a couple of weeks off. We're going to work 50. We're going to need to average 10 sales a week, 2 per day during the workday if you work a 5-day week. If you use a 10-5-2 formula, you're going to need 50 leads a week to work that. What do you mean 10-5-2? Well, you get 10 leads to get 5 appointments to get 2 sales. You can change that percentage or whatever it takes, and it'll give you an idea of how many people you need to generate just to speak to get an appointment, to get in position to make the money we've goaled for ourselves. Obviously, if that income number on an annual basis is a little out of line, you adjust it accordingly. So if you need 50 leads a week, where are you going to get them? If you do a 2,000 piece mailer each and every week and you get 2% return on it, you got 40 of the 50 leads right there. If you are an agent with ours and you qualify for the Brokerage Bucks program, which we'll explain a little while later, we're going to subsidize half that cost. Can you get those other leads then, that shortfall that you need, that other 10, through working with different providers? Are you going to do faith-based marketing, or you're doing seminar selling? How good are you at eliciting referrals? Where do those other leads come from? Are we going to work retail? What other programs do we have in place that we can work backwards to make certain that we see enough people to achieve the income goals we've set for ourselves? What we have to do first then, I guess, is analyze who we are and what we're looking to do and the area in which we intend to market. Once we have that in place, if we have a geographical map laid out where this is the area where I'm going to chase business, then what product matches that market? Because there are differences in markets. You got to take the demographics and apply it to the right product into the right neighborhood. In Dallas, you have different park cities. You have University Park, and you have Fair Park, and you have Highland Park. University Park and Highland Park are very similar in their demographics. And so they have then a similar product mix that you would use to approach them. High income area seems like a logical approach to go in with whole life insurance, universal life insurance, fishing for annuities, looking for long-term care prospects, things of that nature. Medicare supplements, if you go into the Medicare world, a lot of the higher income folks, that's a natural fit, and it also fits a lot of times in their mindset as to what they feel is their best solution for the needs that they present. You go down in the Fair Park, you're looking at a completely different neighborhood, and that's an area where it may behoove you to work dual SNP programs and a different type of marketing campaign to get in front of those individuals. So we want to make certain that we match up the product that we're marketing to the proper market. And then, of course, we've got to follow the rules in which to do that. We talked about different ways of getting in front of people. You're going to do direct mail. You're going to do different types of community work. You want a cold call? You can for certain products. You can do that for most med subs. You can do it for final expense. You can do it for a plethora of programs that are out there. You can't do it for Medicare Advantage or prescription drug plans. You want a door knock? You can do that too. It's a great way to get into companies for group insurance sales. It's a tried and true method for final expense. You door knock for Medicare Advantage or prescription drug plans. It's a good way to not worry about offering those programs anymore because the carrier will cancel your appointment and do some other fun things as well. In addition to that, we've got to be prepared ahead of time to offer the program that we have in mind. So if you're looking to offer life insurance, have you taken care of your contracting and the additional continuing education that comes in order to maintain your license and completed your fraud, waste, and abuse training? If you're looking to do Medicare Advantage programs, are you contracted and certified and trained up in those programs to know what to do and how to follow the rules and regulation MIPA presents in order for you to market compliantly? You're selling long-term care. Have you done the specialized continuing education credit and that recertification process that's required of you in order to be able to legally offer those programs? So you've got a couple of different sets of regulations you have to take into account when you're looking at a marketing program and looking to then boil down into what is my approach in order to get in front of enough people to satisfy the goals that you've set for yourself. And remember, it's always important not to put all your eggs in one basket. We have a lot of folks who will smile and dial for MedSup, and that's what they do. Or, hey, they're working the internet and they're generating leads in that fashion. Or, hey, I'm doing really good with retail during open enrollment, I don't need to do anything else. Or I just have enough referrals from my book of business. If those means satisfy your goals, obviously you're doing some things correctly, but will it work in the long term? And have you diversified enough in order to make certain that you're in front of those people you need to in order to satisfy your goals? Strongly recommend not putting all your eggs in one basket. So what we're going to do then is target and attract the right type of people, and we're going to be proactive about it, because there's the old expression of you don't get kissed if you don't ask. Well, if you're the individual that's waiting around for the phone call from a client, you're like the high school girl waiting for a date to the prom. You're waiting for the phone to ring. Sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. So we need to make certain that we're being proactive, and much like the incomparable hero Pepe Le Pew chasing Penelope, he's always putting himself in a position to get that kiss. Always putting himself in a position to make the sale, in a different lexicon of vernacular there. So where do we find these folks to talk to? Let's look at some of the things that we offer at the Brokerage Inc. through our lead program menu. One of the first things that is available, we talked a little bit about, if you're not afraid of Ma Bell, can you cold call? You betcha. Depends on what you want to do. And we have means to supply lists to you in order to accomplish that goal. If you're looking to cold call for med sups, we can create a custom list for you, and we can do it with different demographics in play there, where we're looking at a higher income list if you're going straight for the Medicare Advantage people, or pardon me, the Medicare Supplement people. If you're looking to pick up a Medicare review and doing it compliantly to get in front of people, and you don't mind selling some Medicare Advantage, well, I've done my certification, I'm contracted, I'm ready to go. I'm out there giving them a review, letting them know what's going on in the Medicare world. And the Medicare Plan F I have in place is too expensive for them. And now I've got to talk about Medicare prescription drug plans as well. You got to get the scope in place. And hey, if they bring it up, you can proceed with the scope and present a Medicare Advantage plan that same presentation. Some carriers allow you to do that. Some don't. And some will enforce that 48-hour cooling off period where, hey, I'm out here to talk about MedSup. I don't have a scope in play. I'll get it signed and I'll come back 48 hours later. However, if you're looking to smile and dial for, let's say, Medicare supplement programs, and you're looking to do business telephonically or electronically, there's ways you can do that with different carriers, and you might look at something beyond the ever referred to turning 65 group of individuals. Yeah, there's over 10,000 people turning 65 each and every day. They don't all live in your market. They are all getting called by a whole bunch of different people, and working that segment, you're then ignoring the rest of the people on Medicare if you aren't versatile enough to be able to pivot and go beyond that. So one of the things that we would look to do is get you the list that are all-encompassing with your goals in mind. If you're looking in an area and you're looking for turning 65 list, this is accessed through to USA Data or Axiom. The company's known by 3 or 4 different names. You can actually purchase a list, butt it up against Do Not Call, and it'll cost you about a nickel and a half, 5.5, 5.4 cents per name. If it is a T65 area in a certain demographic, we may already have that list, and we're willing to supply it to you without cost. Share the list that we have purchased. That depends on you and what you're looking to do with contracts that we have in play as well. Because obviously we need to make those lists available to agents that are doing business with us too, so we can recover our cost. One of the other things to consider though is look at those folks that may not be getting the same sort of marketing pressure and may have already experienced a rate hike or two and may still be in good enough shape to pass underwriting. Because we'll remember, Medicare supplement plans are not subject to MIPA guidelines. So you can cold call for them as long as you adhere to the proper regulations, once again, on do not call lists and everything else that applies there. And you're cold calling for just about any Medicare supplement plan but AARP Medicare supplements. You cannot cold call for that carrier. It's a good way to cost you your contract with United Healthcare. Look then, however, at the T66s and 67s. 66 and 67-year-old folks may have purchased the least expensive plan that was available to them when they turned 65. May no longer be the least expensive plan. It is something to consider that you have to look beyond that demographic and look at folks that have seen that rate increase or have seen some challenges in the service that they've been delivered by either the agent or the carrier, and are more open to a conversation with a Medicare supplement review. One of the other trainings we do on a regular basis deals with our Medicare supplement quote engine, and that is a tool available to contracted agents so you can offer that review. Show them multiple plans with multiple carriers if you choose to do so, and give them an idea of exactly what they're getting for their Medicare supplement buck. A great way to go through and not only offer your clients and prospects a valuable process and tool, but also a great way for you to make certain you got the carriers in your portfolio that you need. One other thing to consider, particularly if you are an agent adept at selling life insurance or long-term care or annuities. Look at those 70-year-olds. If you're going into a market and you're pursuing a little higher income individual, you may very well be targeting an individual who has had a qualified retirement plan, and at the age of 70 and a half, what happens? You've got required minimum distribution pieces that you have to take into account, and it may be a source of additional dollars for you to use for another product that fills the need for a client that you have identified through a demand product like MedSup. Obviously, there are different lists that you would pull for other products. If you're looking for final expense, a different age demographic might come into play. But one of the things you see as you move out of the senior market or the Medicare market is many of those folks aren't home until the evening or weekends, and you have the challenge of actually reaching them. So some things to consider when you look at a call list and how you set that up to pursue new prospects and clients. Some of the other things you might consider doing are retail marketing opportunities. We offer an active program right now in the state of Texas, particularly in central and southern Texas, with the HEB stores. A great way to go to where folks shop and use that as a hub for marketing activity in the community, where you identify that spot where you're going to be once or twice or 3 times a week, whatever it happens to be. HEB generally requires a Tuesday, Thursday, 9 to 1, and you work the area around it to drive traffic to where you are, minimizing your windshield time, maximizing the use of the minutes that you have each and every day, and getting people to a location to come and visit you. There are a number of different campaigns we use in order to help you accomplish that. We have a webinar at the minimum of every other week on retail. That's something to consider as part of an overall marketing plan. Other things to do in the community is go to a location that can draw you an audience. I love the seminar sell. I'm a little bit of a ham in many circumstances. Getting in front of a group can be very invigorating. And you have a number of topics of interest available to you that you can use in the community. And what we suggest is using locations that bring the audience to you. Maximize the use of your marketing dollars through information and supplies available during the presentation, and work in partnership with your site to draw the audience to you. A great partner in that regard are faith-based organizations, churches, synagogues, mosques that draw people to their location and allow you properly set it up, a means to address that group with topics of interest. And you can vary them. And one of the things we suggest in this area very heavily is to farm that market. So you go back to the same location with a different topic periodically, every quarter or whatever, and you visit with them about different topics of interest. Here's Medicare 101. We'll do a program to help your folks understand low-income subsidy to help with the cost of their medications if they're on Medicare, Medicare savings plans for the medical costs as well. Go through and do a final expense presentation using the legacy safeguard approach where you are helping them with pre-needs planning and getting in front of them to help address and identify that challenge and how you can solve it. So a number of different campaigns that are available to you on an ongoing basis in the community to get you in front of groups. Another great avenue to take is to visit with the folks that actually deliver the care. So providers, be they doctors, primary care specialists, or primary care doctors or specialists, dentists, pharmacists. You may have a retail program you work in the past or regularly that's not engaged during this special election period. Can't say you can't go back to them and make certain that that location that serves you well during open enrollment also helps you on an ongoing basis throughout the year. Hey, consider a contract with pet insurance and work veterinarians as well. Any type of medical professional or professional in that circumstance that may have a list of individuals that you can help is a great way to go to, and it also then identifies an individual that may have dollars available as well for their own benefit and their own protection. There are different carriers that periodically will have leads for you based on some of the things that you do for them. This is very much of a you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours as well, and put yourself in the place of the carriers. Yeah, kind of a catch-22 sometimes. I can do business with them if they help me, but if I help them, they can help me do business as well. So some of the things that might be available to you, and it may be more of a lead program during certain peak times of the year than others. But here you go back to Pepe Le Pew and Penelope. You don't know unless you ask. One of the things that we do here is a direct mail program in conjunction with a number of partners, but our featured partner is America's Recommended Mailers, where we engage in mailings for different niches within the insurance industry on a generic basis. We'll talk about some of the carrier-specific pieces in a bit, but this gives you an opportunity to approach the turning 65 audience with a postcard, with a letter, a SEP-SNP letter that speaks to additional benefits they may have available by using this particular program. A choice type of plan where a whole lot of folks are locked in, but a whole lot of folks have an opportunity to change their coverage on an ongoing basis should you realize what those get-out-of-jail-free cards entail. If a person has low-income subsidy, they have a continuous special election period, and you don't need to deal with a dual SNP audience to work with those individuals and Medicare Advantage plans that can really help them out. There may be full Medicaid people that you can help with a dual special needs plan, chronic special needs plans, different programs for different people. There are also letters available for the Medicare supplement market as well. Here a turning 65 piece that makes people aware of the fact that they've got a limited time to exercise their options, and they need to make certain that they do that on an informed basis. There are also a number of carriers that will help if you do business with them, and that's only logical. They're in different categories. They'll deal with Medicare supplement programs, final expense, ancillary programs. Standard Life and Accident offers a 1,000-piece mailer or 4,000-piece consumer prospecting list if you do $5,000 worth of combined issued annualized health premium. It's about 5 combo sales, and you can qualify for it without limit. So if you do $10,000 worth of annualized premium, you got double the support. You also have programs available that give you an idea ahead of time as to what you need, much as what we did earlier in the presentation, to get to a certain income level. These are calculations based on LIMRA statistics and basic math saying, okay, this is the number of lead cards I need to mail if I close this amount of the leads in this many weeks in the quarter. I need to mail this many people to make this much income. If I'm looking at, let's say, 20 leads per week, I'm going to need to mail, in this model, 24,000 pieces of mail. But instead of that $200 calculation we were doing off of Medicare Advantage programs, we're looking at a final expense program that the average commission is $700. So your realized return on investment is different. In this scenario, you're using different numbers. You work that consistently through a year, that's worth well into a six-figure income. So some different things to consider when planning what you're looking to do. It gives you an idea of how things will work out for you if you're consistent in your marketing activity. This is one of the letters that we use for the Legacy Safeguard program. That is a marketing program for final expense that works through a pre-needs system that helps people plan for the inevitable and then gives you an opportunity to go through and address the needs that come as a revelation of actually planning for what's going to happen to us all. Mutual of Omaha offers a marketing credits program based on the issuance of Medicare supplement programs through open enrollment or underwritten applications, and these are detailed for contracted agents on the Mutual of Omaha broker website under the incentives tab, but it gives you dollars then to spend for different marketing programs, be they the use of flyers, mailers, a number of different alternatives for you to use that are given to you as support based on the business that you've given Mutual of Omaha, or in the state of Texas now, Omaha. It's one of the companies they use. Washington National also has lead programs, mail programs in place for ancillary or supplemental health benefits. So they got a neat program that they'll use for critical illness. You can personalize your information, upload the list from USA Data. Whoa. That's the one we talked about earlier for the call list. So you could do different constraints on it, upload a list, use it for the purposes you need, and reach people on a basis through proven marketing techniques to speak to critical illness programs. A great way to get in front of folks, and something you should possibly consider with your current book of business, working back through them for another topic, be it critical illness, final expense, or hey, want any dental? Some simple questions, one pieces to ask to pursue the business that your folks need the coverage for. This gives you an idea of what the cost is on these programs. Here, the mailing list, they're whittled it down to 4 cents a name because they don't need the phone numbers. So some different things that you can do gives you an idea of the cost that is involved and the return on your investment using the Washington National mailing system. They also have a lower minimum mailing number. With the ARM program, Target, Kramer, a number of the other programs, they require a 1,000-piece minimum. Here it's a 500-piece minimum, so you have a little more flexibility there. There's also some things that we'll do to support you if you're looking to market Medicare supplements and you got your contracts with us. We can afford to do a little more for you then. And if you have your contracts with us for these 8 programs and you're looking to pursue Medicare supplements consistently, we need to talk about getting different lead generating letters out to you, the general public, to drum up Medicare supplement business for you through us. So these carriers, United Healthcare, Cigna, Medico, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna's Continental Life, Mutual of Omaha affiliates, Standard, and Transamerica, you have those contracts with us. We'll work a mail program with you to drive Medicare supplement business. There are also leads available through the internet, different aged leads program. Next Wave comes into mind. Health Plan One does a lot of different things with internet leads. I've had some mixed results personally with internet leads, but I think part of that, once again, went back to expectations. I bought a number of leads for long-term care, and I had a really good response. I also had a market that was, well, you were insuring a house that was already on fire. So if you weren't extemporaneous enough to be able to pivot off of a traditional long-term care policy into perhaps a life insurance policy with living benefits, you had a lead that was a sunk cost, basically. So some different things that are available to you through the internet. If you work in the Medicare Advantage or Medicare Supplement world, you're talking, again, two different sets of regulations. Medicare Advantage, you got to be careful about what you're doing through lead generation on the internet. MedSup has a little bit more leniency or room for you to wiggle, so to speak. There is also what I mentioned when we spoke of how do we get to the number of leads we need to get to our income goals, a rundown on the Brokerage Bucks program. And this is if you do 8 applications in any of these 9 categories, we'll fund that mailer for you. 8 applications within a 30-day period will merit you a 1,000-piece mailer. And that can be of any of a multitude of mailers and to whatever area you designate. Let's say you wrote 5 Medicare Advantage plans, 2 Medicare supplements, and a prescription drug plan, but you want to mail for final expense. You can do that. Or you've written 8 dental programs, a supplemental medical program, and you want to mail for life insurance. You can do that as well. There's a catalog of approved letters that we have in place with ARM and a system set up for you to access those leads electronically. Even include your phone number on the letter so they call you, have the opportunity to call you in addition to mailing back of the response. That can help a great deal as well. So that is in place for you in a production funded type of program. We do a similar thing that if you want to exercise that marketing option and mail yourself, what they would normally charge $460 for, they charge $450 for, and if you set it up on a subscription basis with a minimum of 4 months of mailing, give them your credit card or your checking account information so they can mail it for you each and every month for 4 months. We'll match the first month's mailer for you as well. One of the things that we're doing now that we have not done in the past is we have started up our own proprietary call center, which is intended to be used for agents at no cost to the agent to cross-sell. So they're accessing their book of business and selling another product into that household that is a demand product. So right now we're doing a lot with Medicare agents who are dialing into their Medicare book of business looking to sell final expense. Similarly, for ACA people who are dialing into having the call center dial in for them to set up appointments for hospital indemnity programs or dental programs. Demand products that come as a fairly consistent adjunct to the policy they already have in place. And the more policies you have in place in the house, the better your persistency, and obviously the better the income you are able to derive from a single prospect/client. This is dependent upon certain factors. Obviously, if we're going to market a secondary program, we want that program to be marketed through a product you contract with us. We ask that you make 2 segments of the week available, so say a Tuesday morning or a Thursday afternoon, so the call center can set those appointments for you, and that you have a minimum book of business of at least 50 clients, so we can make this cost effective for everyone so they can call and set the appointments appropriately for you. We also ask that you deliver us feedback as to how those appointments go. So, hey, I was on this appointment on Tuesday at 10. I sold a dental program, and they're back in my call-up list for open enrollment for Medicare. Or, wow, I went in there with a hospital indemnity approach, wound up selling the HIP plan, also a dental program, and they referred me to 2 additional people. So some different feedback so we can make certain that we justify the return on our investment in that contract-based initiative, offering you call center support to set appointments for you or an agent you designate. Perhaps you work in partnership with someone else to sell a secondary product, or a second product, I should say. So that might be something that where you have an agency and different sub-agents where you can work your book of business, they can sell the final expense, and you split commissions. There are some things you can do in niches of our insurance world that you can't do in Medicare Advantage or PDPs. So some different things in place that I think will be really, really successful for folks. Our initial pilot on this was highly successful, had a great turnaround on contacting books of business and setting appointments. In one particular instance, up to 85% of it. 85% of what, John? The book of business supplied, they set that many appointments. And a lot of that is dependent, of course, upon your relationship with your book of business, how well they remember you. It's a very simple approach and one that is working out very well for a number of agents, something we strongly consider a very viable means of cross-selling across the board. In order for any of these to work, though, you got to start. There's the old expression, when all is said and done, more is said than done. Well, that's the circumstance here. If any of these programs look like they're something that would work in conjunction with your marketing program, we need to talk. We need to get started. We need to be engaged, and we need to follow through on it. That is something that we look to do with each and every one of you, and we will be sending out additional follow-up to today's presentation to see how we might best do just that. So watch for follow-up from today's presentation. It has been recorded, and a link to that recording will be supplied to you as well, and we'll be following up to speak with you to see what we can do to help each other in driving our production and meeting the goals that we have set for ourselves moving forward. That said, I look forward to those conversations. I want to thank you for spending some time with us here today, and we'll look forward to speaking with you very soon. Thanks so very much, and hey, we'll talk to you down the road. Happy selling.